Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is the fifth and last part of my first miniature tutorial on Easter diorama in a glass bell. I'm sorry it's more than a week late. Sometimes life gets in the way. At least we are well in time for next year's Easter. In the fourth part we landscaped the garden and hid the Easter eggs. In this part we filled the room with Easter decorations like an Easter wreath, tree, cake and a mini glass bell. Enjoy! We start with the Easter wreath. We need 3 pieces of thin wire and twist those together. After you twisted them together, you turn it in the shape you like. I started out with a circle, but as you will see later on, I changed my mind and thought it would look better in the X shape. So you can always change it on later. Like in the fourth part, we will use scissor rope again. Cut a few pieces around 3 centimeters. Untangle the pieces in single threads. You have now a little pile of straw, as it were. Put some glue, wood glue is fine, on the wire circle and twist a few strands of sisal around the wire. And again take a few strands and wrap those around the wire as well. You have to do this many times, and in the beginning it's a bit difficult, but it gets better once you have more and more sisal on the wire. Keep doing this with a few strands at a time until it obscures all wire and becomes a bit thicker. It's not on film, but cut a longer piece of sisal like 6 centimeters or so and untangle as well. Take a few strands and wind those all around the wreath. Also repeat that a few times. With this color sisal, it looks like you made a straw wreath. Finish it off with a colorful thread. I used a sunny yellow and wind that around the wreath too. And keep a bit on top like it has a ribbon, with which you can hang it on the wall. I hope you still have a bunch of the mini eggs left. We made in part 4. For this part we need quite a few. If not, just pause the video and make some more. Glue the eggs on. I glue them per tree, but do whatever you think looks best. After everything dried, you can hang it on the wall. You can also wait until you finished everything and first check out where everything fits best. The second thing we will make are a few bunny figurines and carrots of polymer clay. One I put on the windowsill, the other 2 I used on the mini glass bell. First we make an oval for the body, then a little ball for the head, and roll a tiny snake and cut it in half and use those halves for the feet. Roll out a second tiny snake of clay, cut in half, and shape a rabbit ear from each half. We don't use a lot of details since the rabbits will be so tiny. I'm so sorry this isn't on film either, but you roll out a third tiny snake, cut it in half and put those half as front paws on the body. Pre-bake for 10 minutes on 110 degrees Celsius. The back of the rabbit will be flat. Add some clay to the back of the rabbit to fill it out and a little bunny tail. Roll out an orange clay snake and cut in a few bigger and a few smaller pieces for bigger carrots that the rabbits will hold and tiny ones for the cake later on. Use a bit of green clay to make the greens on top. Bake in the oven for 10 minutes on 110 degrees Celsius. Glue the carrot in such a way onto the rabbit that it looks like the rabbit is holding the carrot. Of course we also need a bowl with colorful eggs. Put a bit of clay through the thinnest setting on the pasta machine. Use a circle cutter to cut out a circle and fold it on the top of a ball tool to shape a bowl. Cut away the excess and try to keep the edge as straight as possible. Use an even smaller circle cutter and place that tiny circle on bottom of the bowl. Pre-bake for 10 minutes. After baking, carefully remove the bowl from the bowl tool. Put in a tiny bit of Fimo liquid into the bowl and add the eggs. Hopefully you still have enough. Bake again for 10 minutes. I put my bowl with the eggs next to the rabbit in the windowsill. I love the idea of a mini glass bell in a big glass bell. And I had a bunch of plastic transparent tubes that were just the right size. Hopefully you can find something similar. Saw the top of the tube. My top is around 1.5 centimeter high. Sandpaper the edges, but be careful not to sandpaper the in or outside, otherwise it won't be so transparent anymore. You can also cut the frills away carefully with a knife. Clean the tube of all residue. Put the plastic bell on top of a 1.5 mm thick balsa wood. Draw with a pencil around the bell, cut out a circle, and sandpaper if needed. Glue the 2 rabbits onto the wooden circle. Give one or two of them a carrot in its front paws and glue the bell to the wooden circle. Of course, this bell has not as much details as our life-size glass bell, but I think it's a lovely accessoire in our room. I added it to the side table. After all our hard work, I could really eat some cake. Let's make one. Roll out a thin piece of white clay in the pasta machine on setting 8. Cut a plate with a circle cutter and add some liquid Fimo in the middle. Roll a thicker piece of brown cake colored clay in the pasta machine on setting 1. Cut 2 smaller circles and stack them on top of each other with a bit of Fimo liquid in between. Add them to the plate. If you like, you could pre-bake it together with the chocolate pieces we make in the next step. Roll out the thin dark chocolate clay in the pasta machine on setting 9. Cut them in tiny rectangles that are a tiny bit higher than the cake and pre-bake in the oven. Use the Fimo liquid to paste the rectangles to the cake. I recommend to pre-bake again, then add Fimo liquid in the middle and use a half ball of clay as a rabbit butt. Roll 2 tiny ovals for the feet and use a bit of old pink color for the foot pads. And add a tiny half ball as a tail. Use a needle tool to fluff the tail up. It should look like the rabbit is digging a hole in the cake. Add the eggs and the mini carrot. Bake again, but this time for 30 minutes. Oh, that looks so yummy. A shame it's clay. Let's set it on the side table as well. And we're almost done. Only the Easter tree is left now. By the way, I made a few bigger Easter eggs for the tree. You could do that as well if you like. I found a nice bead that I want to use as a face. Cut a few pieces of wire for the willow branches, as many as fit in your face. And wind the wires around the round plier so you get the curly shapes of the willow branches. Wind the end of the branches around each other so you have the bunch together, and take care that it will fit in the opening of your face. Paint the branches with brown and a bit of green paint. I used a bit of my moss paint too to make it more realistic looking. Cut from several colors of yarn as many threads as you have eggs. These will act as the ribbons on your eggs. Glue the strings to the eggs. Mind you, this can be a bit of a tricky and frustrating job. Cut the strings to the right length. And hang the eggs with their ribbons in the Easter tree with a bit of glue. Make sure it looks like they're really hanging in the tree. Like that are not sideways or something, because that looks unrealistic. That's your Easter tree all done. Put it in a nice spot together with the rest of your beautiful made pieces. Doesn't it look gorgeous? I'm so happy with it. For next Easter, I'm all set. So guys, that was the last part, and I really hope you enjoyed it. The videos weren't perfect, I do realize that, but I learned a lot, also by planning amongst things. I loved making the tutorial, and I'm sure a new one will follow. This was Loving a Story, and hopefully I will see you again on my channel. Thank you for watching!